This is evidence for the rubric number 2, code and development. The second piece of it, which is reusable libraries and functions specified as and when necessary, making it easy to maintain site code. So the easiest way that I have found for this data, for this website structure that I was creating, was to add my functions in services. So for instance, I write all the functions associated with forms, similar kind of functions, in the service file. I introduce the service file in different pieces of my components. By components here in Angular, we mean literally the form. So we are coding the form in TypeScript. We are adding script in the form of TypeScript, and HTML takes on the TypeScript functionalities. Within TypeScript, you can introduce your services. For example, here I have introduced the authentication service, as you can see, auth service. The auth service is nothing but pieces of code that I have added here, which help in authenticating the user. You're checking if the user has logged in or not. So here is the auth service TypeScript code that I have written here within the services. Now all I have to do is call it here, import it here, and any service, that is any function that I have mentioned here, I can call here. So using the example of a auth service object, I call in a get profile or any function that I may have probably introduced here to check rules or so. So this is a very good example of reusable code where I am going to be using the same functionality again and again on every page or every component. It helps me check different things at different point. Maybe I'm checking for the name of the user in a specific page, or maybe I'm checking for the role to hide or show the buttons accordingly. So this is where I have used it in different components of the site. The second piece to this reusable code is the component itself. So components, some of them are static throughout the website pages. For example, the nav bar. There is only one nav bar, and I'm constantly using the same piece of functionality, that is the HTML component as well as the TypeScript, on all pages. So there's nothing much changed, even though there may be certain pages that require specific navbar functionality. I choose to control that from this component itself. So I am reusing the same piece of code. I'm trying to make a judgment based on certain information that I'm getting from that particular page. So that's another example of reusability. I also have a lot of functions here where I pass objects, and based on the object that is passed, I take a decision. So this is again an example of reusable code where the objects that are passed may be as different as an application profile object or maybe an application survey object, but the functionality remains the same. Maybe I'm checking something as simple as how many surveys are there or how many applications are owned by a specific person, but it is only the name of the function that the name of the function remains consistent, the function that is being called remains consistent. The only thing that varies is the parameter that is passed. This is again very possible in JavaScript because you are not specifying the type of parameter that is being passed. You are just saying it's any as the declaration, and you can basically pass any kind of object and you can check what kind of object it is within the function. So this makes it very easy for me to reuse a lot of functions here. You'll see a lot of different such functions here, simple ones where I'm doing these checks. So that's about